that kind of comes down to what you want to do with your life. Like if you want to just be the person who doesn't really make an impact on the world and stays in your comfort zone, you might never fulfill that purpose or that potential.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Anyone Anywhere podcast. So today I have the pleasure to have Easton Gladney. He is a real estate agent and investor from Toledo, Ohio, and he's also a CrossFit practitioner and also a personal development lover. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing amazing. I mean, things are well. A little cold here in
Really?
Ohio, but yeah, things are going well.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Tell me a little bit about yourself, about your story. Can you share me?
So I graduated high school in 2018. I'm 20. Um, I have been a real estate license. I've been a real estate agent. I've been licensed for a year and a half. Um, and the reason I guess I got into that was more for I was working as a mechanic. We were taking apart like big like steel mill like motors and stuff like that, and I was greasy. Like my whole face was black and dirty, and I was around like chemicals all the time. And I worked there for about 8 months, and after that I was miserable, um, and I was just not happy. So that's when I just decided to like quit that job and just go get my license. So that's kind of like a backstory of like the like recent stuff that's kind of happened.
Do you want to go a little bit deeper? I was high school. I was the. Tell me a little bit
Uh,
about yourself,
so we can go way back. So
please.
when I was born, I was supposed to be born in March, but I was born in December, so I was a premature baby.
Okay.
Um, I was born at 2 pounds, um, very, very tiny. I had to have heart surgery. Um, I have a giant scar on my back from that. And the doctors told my mom that it was going to be a very small chance that I would live um, from that surgery. So, from that, me being so small, it caused me to have a lot of problems growing up. Um, I had a lisp, I had a lazy eye, I had a twitch, I had a stutter. Um, I mean, I was filled with problems. I had Tourette's. So that was very big. I think it probably affected me all the way up to high school. Those problems, and like obviously as the years went on, like I got them fixed. I wore like an eye patch on one eye to fix my lazy eye. I worked on my Tourette's and kind of worked on that. And um, in the recent years, in the last like 2 to 3 years, I've worked on my stutter in my lisp a lot. Um, and that kind of all stemmed from me being premature. And then also that came with a lot of like anxiety and a lot of other mental health problems. So that's kind of like my way back story. And then leading into high school, um, I was the very insecure, like quiet kid. I didn't really find my place. I didn't really have like those go-to friends until about senior year. Um, and I was that kid that was like a perfectionist to kind of cover up his insecurities. And I wanted to get perfect grades. I wanted to be kind of liked by everyone. Um, and then as we moved through high school, junior year, I kind of just gave up on school. Um, I really didn't enjoy it after that. And I also played lacrosse for 10 years. Um, so I was going to this specific high school to go play lacrosse in college. And then I had some offers um, and some things going on with that. I got some offers from schools in the States and stuff like that, in like Chicago and Michigan. And leading up to junior year, like I was super excited to go play. And then as I went through high school more, I was like, I don't enjoy this. And even if I was going to go to college to play that, I wasn't, I was still paying like $80,000 a year, which was super expensive. They were giving me 20 grand, but I was still paying 20 grand a year. And the life outside of college for lacrosse, there's absolutely nothing that really leads me to get into anything with lacrosse. So after that senior year, I met some people that kind of thought like I did in my high school, like one or two people, and those are kind of like my go-to friends senior year. I was sleeping class like 4 to 8 classes every day. I just didn't want to be there. It was miserable. So then I left high school and I got into trades. As I said, I worked as a mechanic. Um, and then I realized going through the trades that I didn't like working for someone else. I don't like trading my time for money. And then I'm here. I'm a uh, real estate agent and loving life.
And love your story. And since the beginning, it seems no, you were a fighter, man. It's like since the beginning of your life, you are always fighting, always improving, or it's fighting for your life, or it's improving your vision, some of your skills, man. Really, whoa, didn't had any idea. Let's go. You were talking me about the lacrosse. For the ones that don't know, because in Europe, I think that is not like we don't know a lot about that sport. Can you tell me first a little bit what it is? And I want also to learn some lesson that you took from the lacrosse.
So lacrosse is basically, it's kind of like a mix of like hockey and football kind of, and some like soccer. So it's basically like it's hockey with a stick and a net.
Okay.
So you have like a net, and then you have like a stick that
Mm,
comes down from the net, and then you like throw the ball like back and forth, and you just try to score a goal. So it's 11. I believe it's 11-on-11, and there's like defense, and it's smaller than a football field. Um, and it's basically like you just run the field and then you just pass the ball um, like back and forth, and then you try to score. And there's hitting. Um, you can like hit them like with their body. You can hit them with your stick.
mhm.
So it's pretty intense.
I am imagine. I am imagine. It's a little bit like our football, your soccer, but yeah,
Yeah,
you have still the stick to give it to the other guy. And
exactly.
some lesson that you took from lacrosse.
A big one. So soft sophomore year, I got injured, and then I went into junior year thinking I was going to play. And the whole season, the coaches kept telling me, like, you're going to play, you're going to get playing time. And every game, I would just ride the bench and I wouldn't play. Um, and I was just not having fun. And so that's what kind of like drove me to quit and stop playing. And I didn't play my senior year. um, and now when I look back on that, that's probably the best thing that could happen to me, because if I would have had playing time, I probably would have loved it, and then I would probably be in college right now playing lacrosse. So I've realized that things happen for a reason. They You might not realize it in the moment. It might suck in the moment, but there's a reason why it is happening to you. And most things that are not fun or not enjoyable in the moment actually shape you and kind of guide you on the path to where you're going.
And I love that. Let's go from
Thank you.
there. Let's go from there. I love what you mean by that. What you mean? Let's talk a little bit about that. What you mean that the things that you don't enjoy, it's maybe the things that will shape you as a better human being, if you can say. Can you talk me a little bit more about that?
I think from a growing standpoint, I think the only way to really grow is to be uncomfortable. Um, and that uncomfortableness comes from doing things that you're not used to or that you don't really want to do. And then I think a lot of the stuff that we have planned out in our heads, like we plan things, we plan our whole life out thinking something's going to go some way. And if it doesn't fit that exact plan, we think like your whole life's over when actually that was exactly what is supposed to happen. But since we have this like straight like 100% plan in our head, even it like even if it's the right thing that was supposed to happen, we think it's the wrong thing.
I completely understand you and agree, because we always expect that the sun will rise tomorrow, you
Yeah.
know. And yeah, I think with this come like with our current situation with the COVID, it comes to learn exactly what you were saying. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we make plans to like big plans, 5 years, 10 years, and sometimes we have just to adapt to the present. And I like, because you were talking, you touching in a subject that I like to talk with my guests. Do you believe in having a purpose, meaning in life?
I think we have I don't I think we do have a purpose. Um but I think we have I guess a lot of potential to make something happen. Um I think with that potential, I think that just um that kind of comes down to what you want to do with your life. Like if you want to just be the person who doesn't really make an impact on the world and like stays in your comfort zone, you might never fulfill that purpose or that potential. I think we are all gifted with certain gifts and certain things that we are good at and that we gravitate towards, and that we can use those things to impact the world and change other people's lives. But if you never get outside of your comfort zone and like go after those things, or push towards those things to actually find out like what am I good at and what am I not, um you are never going to really find out what your full potential is, or like what my like real purpose is in life.
Totally agree with you. And tell me, what is yours?
I think mine is to impact as many people that I can in a positive way. And I really think, with my experience in mental health and me getting through a lot of mental health challenges, I really think one of my big purposes is to help people with their mental health and guide them and put a different perspective on what they're really going through. Um, I think, as we talked about, like with my past, I've been through a lot. And I think the reason why I went through a lot of that stuff is to now, as I get older, help people going through that stuff, um, and kind of just change people's lives in a positive aspect. If that is in a mental health way, if that's in a business way, like I'm all about helping people, and just in like any way possible. If that's professional, if that's in your personal life, I am big on pushing people to find their full potential.
And I think it's beautiful, man. It's, and like I used to say to my guests, if you can change one person's life, man, it's already mission accomplished.
Yeah,
Like I think it's beautiful, a beautiful purpose. And now, if you want, do you want to talk a little bit more about some of your mental challenge that you passed through, to for the people,
definitely.
because somebody is passing for the from the same problem, you know, for sure.
I I actually love to talk about
Please.
my mental for that reason, because you never know how like I could say something and it could affect someone in a way that that I never imagined. So I guess kind of some like background context. I struggled a lot with anxiety and depression, um, some of like OCD type symptoms as well. And I've been going to therapists for, I've probably seen 15 to 20 therapists. Um, and they really didn't help me. It seemed like every time I would go to a therapist, they would just like tell me something, and then it just wouldn't help. And what I've kind of realized why why it actually wasn't helping. So I take a very different approach on mental health now. Um, I look at mental health as we are always trying to like run away from these thoughts and these bad feelings we have. but we should actually be embracing them. And the more we try to get rid of those thoughts and feelings, the more they're going to come back. But when you just actually let those thoughts and feelings be there while you're living the life you want to live, um, there's no more problems. So I guess the therapist I was going to was always when I had a compulsion to get rid of this guilty feeling that I had. I would do the compulsion and it would give me very short relief, and then another guilty feeling would come back, and then I would do the compulsion, and then another guilty feeling would come back. So it was just a constant loop that I felt like I could never get out of. Um, and I was in a very, very dark place a couple years ago, and I found this guy. His name's Mark Freeman. He's on YouTube. I think his YouTube is Mark A. Freeman. I will send it over to you. But he completely changed my life. He really saved my life. I was in a very dark place. I really didn't want to be alive anymore. Um, and he said that same thing. He's like, it's okay to let your thoughts and your feelings be there. It's He kind of gave the analogy of clouds. He's like, if you see a certain shaped cloud in the sky and you don't like it, are you going to change your whole entire mood just because you saw a cloud you didn't like? And he was like, you shouldn't be doing that with your thoughts and feelings. Just because um a guilty thought or like a guilty feeling pops up in your brain, that doesn't mean your whole entire day can change. It can be there, and you can continue to live your life. And I kind of like to give the analogy um, with the Joker and um, Batman. And when Batman's beating the crap out of the Joker and he's just sitting there laughing, at some point there's not there's no more pain Batman can do to the Joker because he's just sitting there just laughing and just taking it. And that's how I kind of look at mental health, is that your brain's going to keep throwing up these thoughts and these feelings, and all it wants is you to do those compulsions. That's all it wants. And if you just watch it and you watch it and you watch it, at some point the brain's going to be like, I can't do anything else to make him do these compulsions. I'm just gonna like stop, or I'm gonna keep trying, and he's just gonna keep just like watching him go by. And I've realized the more you give into those compulsions, the more they're gonna come back. And the um for me, the more miserable I was.
I think first of all for sharing, and thank you. And like you said it, it's like you have the thoughts, because I think at first everybody has bad thoughts, like, and it's like you're saying, having the thoughts and having the acceptation that it's just a bad thought, and it will pass through you. It's not.
Yeah.
Let's not make the cloud change our day. Like you were saying, and I love the metaphor. And how do you think that you can improve if somebody is in the same situation than you were a couple of years ago? Which advice you will give to them? Or
uh Self-awareness, I think, is huge. um that's why I'm in the place I am now. Self-awareness, basically. um Before, when I didn't have a lot of self-awareness, I was reacting. I would A thought would come up or a feeling would come up. Um I would feel it, and then instantly I would react. How can I get rid of this feeling? And every time it was just me reacting to feelings, reacting to thoughts. And then as I built up my self-awareness, I would be aware of these thoughts. I'd be okay. I'm feeling a very angry feeling, or I'm feeling a sad feeling, and it can just be there. But if you're not self-aware, you are just reacting instead of being aware of things and just letting them be there. You're just reacting over and over and over, um, and that's what's really changed my life on a not just a mental health, just like my life as a whole is self-awareness is huge.
Man, I love it because you have also, let's go also because I took a quote that you had in your Instagram saying like self-awareness, it's like a superpower. I love that quote,
It
man.
is.
It's really, really nice. And
Thank
how
you.
do you think that we can develop that superpower, man?
I think so. For me, it started. Um, I would sit down in a chair, and I would sit there, and I wouldn't move. And um, I would first I would work on noticing the small urges, like if I had an itch, or if I had to go to the bathroom, or if I had to sneeze. I would sit in the chair. I wouldn't move, and even if I had that feeling, I would just sit there. And obviously, as you start, you are going to give in to those urges. But the more you practice that, um, the more you just sit there, and um, like as it comes up, you'll be more and more aware of it. The more you practice, and then you just feel it. You just feel the feeling, and you sit in the chair, and then um, starting small like that, because you can't go from no self-awareness to trying to feel the most guilty feeling in the world where you feel uh like your life's going to end. So you have to start very, very small and then build up slowly. And I found that's, for me, was a really big of starting with the small urges. I mean, like, um even just starting by being aware of it. Like if you're sitting in the chair and you're feeling an itch, and you're aware of the feeling, and then let's say you do it, and then the next time you sit down and you're aware of it for 10 seconds more than you were last time, and then you give into it. So like it's a small building without judging yourself is huge.
Man, I love it. I love the idea. Like you said, it's like going to the gym. You don't start like with 120, we call it in Europe, kilos, you know. You start like
Yeah.
small, step by step, you know, like you were saying, you know, you don't want to become a Jedi in one day, you know.
Yeah.
I will say it. And how do you describe your mindset now?
Calming.
Sorry?
um uh Calming, like
Calming.
calm. um I think for me, I can go through almost anything, and I'm going to just be aware of it happening, and I'm going to continue. That's why, as I said, like it bleeds over into other places of life, especially business, because I mean, as you know, you're putting yourself in uncomfortable situations all the time. And if if you are just going to feel a very uncomfortable feeling and run away from that, you are never going to grow. Um, and as I become more self-aware, the more calm I will be in those scenarios. In my brain, it might be absolutely crazy, like terrible thoughts, but I'm not going to be like shaking or like scared. I'm going to be thinking those thoughts and being very calm, because I'm going to be confident in my ability to get this done, or at least do the best I can. Um, Before, I would think those thoughts in a very like uncomfortable scenario, and I would be freaking out, like I would be shaking. But now I'm just like at peace. um I kind of like to call it uh like you're in a joyful state. No matter what's happening around you, you are going to be enjoying the moment. If it's happy feelings, sad feelings, if your business is failing, if you're doing something amazing, you're just going to stay at this constant level of I'm just in the moment and I'm loving what I'm doing.
Man, I love it. I love it. Just yeah, being in the moment. But yeah, I think like it's something that we have again to develop that kind of I don't know, mindset, if you can
Yeah.
say, because we are so used to think about the future being I have to answer to you, to them, like, and just enjoying the moment, you know, like I was listening to somebody like just being a little bit like more like a dog or a cat, you know. If you see like a dog or a cat, they are like, yeah, I know
Yeah.
it, I love it. And at the beginning, you were saying when you were talking about real estate, you were saying that you didn't want to trade your time for money. I love that sentence. And why you say that?
I can be doing a lot more things with my time that are valuable than just working for someone else. And I guess for me, it was not being like, I didn't want to be average. Like, there's a lot more things I can be doing with my time. And you can only do so much. Like, you can only make so much if you're trading time, because time is the only thing that we can't get back. But when you're not trading your time for money, you're trading like results for money. So you could have, like, in the real estate world, I could have like four buyers who want to buy a house at the same time, and they could all close on the same day, and I could make $10,000 to $20,000. And it's not determined on how much time I spent with those buyers. It's determined, did we close on a house or did we not? So there's a lot more flexibility, I think, when you're not trading time for money. There's a lot more you can do. You can reach so much more potential because you're just not sitting there just like watching the clock go by, or like waiting for like a lunch break, or like waiting like to go to the bathroom to play on your phone. Um, and it just, I guess, not wanting to just be average, and just trade my time for money and then just wait for like for Fridays, or wait for this. I want to make an impact, and the way to do that is um, spending time on things that I really want to do.
Let's talk about some of the things that you really love to do. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What you really love to do?
I love helping people. Um, I think I think that's what really drives me is, with everything, is I want to be there to help people, um, not to the point where it's hindering me, but I want to like be able to have connections where if someone needs something, I have a connection instantly. Um, and I think just being able to see other people happy is a huge motivator for me. I love real estate. Um, I I like real estate for the ability to help people. They're making the biggest financial decision of their life. A lot of people are not educated on that process. I love to educate people on the buying process and the selling process, and um, what they're doing. And then obviously the money is very good in being an agent and being an investor. Um, I love personal development and growing and just slowly getting better. Um, and I like CrossFit. So I mean, I'm a very simple person.
Man, for me, simple is good, like you don't need a lot to be a happy person. Like, let's go a little bit in the real estate. You want to give some tips for maybe some buyers, sellers, investors that we can use there in United States and also here in Europe, because I know that there are different markets.
Yeah.
So if you can give
I
me
mean, I
some
think
tips.
on the buying side, it's
Mm,
super important to be educated on the process.
okay.
Um, I like to educate my clients on, okay, like from start to finish, this is exactly what's going to happen. Here are the steps. Here's what to expect in those steps. Here is um, where the money's coming from. Here's what you're paying for. And here are the connections that I can give to you that will help you in the process. So I think being educated, because when you are educated, you're comfortable, and when you're comfortable, you're going to be happy, and that's going to make a very good transaction. Um, I think staying patient is huge. Don't walk into one house and say you love it, um, and then without seeing a couple other houses, because you don't want to be overwhelmed by the starting process of buying a home, um, and then get into the home 6 months later and be like, I actually don't like this. I was just super excited about actually buying a home. Um, So I think patience and education is huge on the buying side. On the selling side, I think it's huge to um, not put emotion into selling your home. When you put emotion into selling your home, that you take stuff personal. Like if someone submits an offer $10,000 lower than you're asking, you are going to get very, very attached and very, very
Mm.
hurt by that and take that very personal. Um, and I think having a real expectation of what is my house actually worth, not what do I think it's worth. I see a lot of sellers saying, I want to sell my house for this much because I put like I put like these floors in here and I painted the house and like my grandma like lived in this house, and but taking that away and actually just looking at the numbers like, okay, here are the comps in the area that my house is worth. Where do you think your house fits in these comps? And this is what we're going to list it for. So I think that's huge on the selling side. And on the investing side, I think education as well, educating yourself on different ways to invest, your market. What is my end goal? Do I want to be financially free? Um, is this just a little side income that I want? Figure out what you want, and then what numbers do I need to reach my goal? And then again, staying patient, not just jumping on the first investment property you find, looking at multiples and making sure you're finding the best deal in that area.
Man, great for me. Great tips for every field. For like if you and some of them commons, I will say like research. You have to do your research.
Yeah.
Know how much the value of the market that you want to buy. Be patient, like, and I will take and don't get attached to the like. If you are the seller, don't get attached. It's don't get emotional. I think they are
Yeah.
great advice. uh
Thank you.
no, great, no, man, and it's something simple, but you can use it like in each part. I think that everyone that listened now can use it. I like to also talk a little bit about daily habits, morning routines, night routines. Do you have some of that?
I do not. That's something I need to work on personally, is getting up at the same time every day. I need to start eating a little bit healthier than I am. That's one part where I'm kind of lacking in right now, that I know I need to kind of crack down on, waking up earlier in the morning than I am, eating healthier, working out consistently. Um, yeah, I don't really have any
Mhm.
right now at the
No.
moment, which is, yeah,
No, but it's no, and you don't have to, like, if you work like that. I just like to understand sometimes
yeah.
some common points that the people have. I think that is interesting. And another quote that you had in your Instagram that I love it. It was, being vulnerable, it's a strength. Like, I love it. Can you talk a little bit more about that, please?
I think when you're vulnerable, you're going to be more authentic. And when you're authentic, people can pick up on that. And when you're trying to hide something from people, like if you're really, really dealing with something, or you're very, very insecure about something and you're trying to hide it, people can pick up on that instantly. And then you start to get defensive, or you start to get angry, um, because you are trying to hide something, or because you don't want to embarrass yourself. But if you just talk to it, like uh, talk about it, or embrace it, or work on it instead of denying that you have the problem, um, life just becomes a lot more peaceful, because you're not always trying to hold up this status, or you're not trying to hide stuff from people or be defensive. Um, and then on the mental health part, I think it's ginormous, because especially men, I think don't talk about what they're dealing with, because the stigma of they have to be strong and tough, and um, like men don't cry and stuff like that. And I think the more we talk about our problems, the more we're gonna get it fixed, and the more you're gonna get different perspectives on it. Um, So I think talking about what you're dealing with in any portion of your life is huge because then you're not defensive and you're not insecure because because you know you have a problem and you were talking about it, so you're not trying to be like defensive about it. You're like open. You're like, listen, I am dealing with this problem. I need your help. How can I fix it? And I want to understand how to actually improve instead of um just denying to myself all the time that I actually have this problem.
And like what I see that is in common. First, I love it. It's the self-awareness. Like in the habits, like the habits that I don't have it yet, but I have to. It's something that I have to improve on. You have always that self-awareness that I love it. Like, and I think it's the base. If you know yourself, your needs, what you have to improve, it's your way, your
Yeah.
path. I think it's like great. And tell me, what is your definition of success?
I think I think as a whole, striving to be a better person every single day, um, without judging yourself about the downfalls because they are a part of you getting to the part where you want to be. I For me, I've had a little bit of a hard time kind of defining success myself, in the past years because like I didn't really know because I was kind of tying it to like material things or like accomplishments, but now I'm like moving in the right direction and just being in that joyful state that I mentioned all the time while striving for your goals. If you accomplish them or not, you are still on that process and you're still enjoying the ride.
Focus on a journey, like man, totally right.
It's
Like,
super important.
yeah, because we are also like I think we want the instant pleasure, like I want the phone now, I want to win now, I want the burger now, we don't wait for the gratification, in the long run, and I think
Yeah,
that is so important.
I think instant gratification leads to a lot of unhappiness. I think in almost every case, obviously you have to um, enjoy yourself sometimes, but I think a lot of the times instant gratification leads to a lot of unhappiness. If you're not willing to put that aside to achieve something better, I don't think for me personally, when I go into a lot of stuff that gives me instant gratification, I feel very unfulfilled after I partake in those activities. And then when I'm striving toward a goal and knowing, hey, in 10 years, I'm going to accomplish this, I am very happy and very fulfilled because I know I'm moving towards something that's going to better me in the future.
And I think it's like, and you are so right. And how do you think that we can change that mindset, man? Like, don't expect so much the instant and gratification, and go for the long run, doing the marathon.
I think from the instant gratification part, I think a lot of people expect things. Um, they expect, like, if you're going to a meeting with someone, they expect to get business. If you're doing something like they expect a lot in the short term, um, which they expect that to bring them happiness, and it doesn't, and then they just get in this loop of always chasing that next high or um, that like next happiness. And I think it's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is huge. If you're not comfortable with those negative feelings, or if you're not comfortable dealing with your own thoughts, like being alone and like having the inside chatter in your head, you are always going to be thinking, how can I get rid of these thoughts? How can I chase happiness? How can I get um that like this next high? And I think it goes back to self-awareness when like you're always chasing that next high and you're always chasing that next compulsion because you don't want to deal with what you're dealing with now. And I think it also has a lot to do with um you're trying to like make other people happy and trying to like live for other people. Um, and that's also very draining and very unfulfilling because like you feel good in the moment, but then like when you lay down in your bed at night, when it's just you know what you're really doing. Like you're really living life for other people, and then you're just trying to hide that when you're out in like the real world. And then for like the like marathon part, I think it's really all about working on that self-awareness, working on dealing with those feelings and those thoughts, and just being okay with who you are in that moment, but also striving to be better.
And beautiful. And like again, like the self-awareness that you have to have, it's I think it's if I have to point a point of this conversation, it's that part, man. Be self-aware of yourself, like, and work on it, like
Yeah.
spend time with you, like I think it's really nice. And talking a little bit about legacy, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
I want to be, I guess, one of the kindest, nicest, hardworking um, entrepreneurs of all time. Like I want to be like one of the greats, but I want to do it kind of like Gary Vee does it. If you know who he is, um, I want to have that. Like I want to be known as this ambitious, hardworking. Like I get shit done and I get results, but I'm also very kind and I'm willing to spend my time helping people or doing stuff that might not directly benefit me, but I know it's gonna help other people. And I think that's one of the biggest things for me is I want to be known as a hardworking person, but also a very, very kind and very, very um, nice person.
Man, I think it's a beautiful legacy, man, and a beautiful is example to follow up. Like kindness and hardworking, man. Like I think really two great qualities. And uh, with the time that we are passing now with the corona, which advice you will give for the persons that are passing through some mental problem?
I think it's first coming to the realization that it's always going to be something. If it's not COVID, it's about the presidential election. If it's not about that, it's about um, something that's going on at your workplace. If it's not that, it's about the anxiety that you're facing um, when you're doing something else. I think realizing that it's always going to be something. Like you are always going to be chasing that. Like you're always going to be chasing that certainty that everything's going to be all right. And the only way to fix that, in my opinion, is being okay with the uncertainty. And the more uncertainty that you can carry, the happier you are going to be. Um, and I think that's really huge because I think a lot of people don't really realize that, okay, I'm very anxious about this COVID scenario. And once this is over, everything's going to be great. And then they don't realize that when it's over, they're just going to jump to one next thing. And then the next thing, and then they're going to look back on their life 30 years later and be like, oh my gosh, I've just been this ball of stress and anxiety. Um, like, and I'm not really happy because I'm always worrying about like what's that next thing going to be?
Man, I think it's yeah. You are so right. It's just being certain, like you say, in the uncertainty. It's like that you say.
Yeah.
I love it. And again, how do you think that we can develop that kind of mindset? Because it's just become more calm.
I think for the uncertainty, put yourself in situations that you know are going to make you very, very uncertain. Um, I guess an example of that could be uh, like if you're afraid to speak in public, or if you're afraid to like order food or stuff like that. I think forcing yourself to do that and then realizing that everything is going to be okay. Like, okay, like I am super nervous to like order um like this hamburger, and then you order it, and you're like, wow, that actually wasn't that bad. And it always goes back to that self-awareness. I think it's super important because once you're aware of that, you can use it in every aspect of your life. Um, like if you're dealing with this COVID stuff, if you're very, very anxious and you are self-aware about it, you're going to be okay. I am very, very anxious about this now, but I know when this passes, there's going to be a next thing. So we're going to just be okay in this moment because I know that I can't control it and nothing's going to change by me worrying. I'm going to be, I guess, um, I'm going to embrace the uncertainty, and no matter what happens, I know I am going to be okay.
Mm. Man, great advice. Like two main points: expose yourself to something that you don't like to do, and being okay, accept what you cannot control. I
Yeah.
think it's like we can start working for that. Uh, Tell me a little bit about projects that you are doing, some new projects that you want to share with me, with the listeners and viewers. If you have
I
something
guess
new.
projects. I don't really have. I mean, like big things in the work. I guess like it's just me just doing kind of the same stuff that I'm doing now. Stay consistent with generating leads. Me being an agent. I guess like a goal of mine
Hmm.
for the agent side is I want to do $2 million of sales by July 31st of next year. So I guess like that's kind of like a project or a goal that I'm working on, and then I want to look to buy another rental property. I have one right now. I want to look to buy another rental property um, sometime uh, mid next year, um, and then just really just staying consistent with what I'm doing now and just trying to improve and get better and just keep like networking with people. I think networking for me has really generated all my business. Like I've networked with a ton of people in the um, like Toledo area. I've networked with people in Florida, in LA, New Jersey, New York, a couple people from Canada. So it's just really just staying consistent with what I'm doing now.
Man, really nice, and I love that part. Like, it's so let's say your idea it's to be uh, a rich dad.
Yes.
If somebody read the book, if not, like Rich Dad Poor Dad, a nice,
I
really
love
nice.
that book.
And so your idea is becoming your income coming from your assets, like, and
Yeah,
your assets
exactly.
being your properties.
I I would like as I get more experience and I start making some more income, I would like to partner with other people in different industries. Like I want to be just like I guess like a businessman and like entrepreneur. Like just get into like a bunch of different like industries, like partnering with people and just having many streams of income come in. Um, and I think that's probably one of my longer term goals is to just keep slowly like making connections and just building that up for me.
I love it. And also you were talking about networking. uh how you already understood that is something important for you, and how do you think that you can starting develop your network in different areas, like how you did it?
I um Social media for me has been huge. I think a lot of these people that you think are not going to respond are going to. Like I reached out to a girl, her name's Taylor Price. She's on TikTok. She's about like stocks and finance. She had 500,000 followers on TikTok. I went to her Instagram and I reached out to her. I said, "Hey, I would love to connect with you. I love what you're doing." And we jumped on a Zoom call, no, a Zoom call about 3 months ago, and then she connected me to a real estate agent in LA. He has like 2 million followers on TikTok, and then we talked, and like it's just been really just reaching out and just saying like, hey, I love what you're doing. I would love to connect. Like, and just jump on a call for like 20 minutes, and realizing that those people that you think are not reachable are actually very, very reachable. And just, I guess, like, just start like reaching out. Like, if you find someone that has that same mindset that you do, and you guys think you guys can have a very good conversation, just reach out to them. It like, if that is leaving a comment on his TikTok being like, hey, like, I would love to jump on a call, if that's DMing him. And I think social media for me has been huge for the local networking with generating leads through LinkedIn, or if that's networking with people in America, in Canada, in Europe. It's been huge for me, and a very enjoyable process because I get to talk to people with that like-minded mindset who want to build something and be ambitious. So it's very like enjoyable talking to people.
And I love it, and I love your mindset and the way that you approach it. Just because it can be in real estate and outside of it, just connecting with different people, like, and like all over the world now, like
Yeah.
almost. Yeah, I love it. And do you read? Do you listen to some podcasts?
I've been getting into reading a little bit. I'm reading Think and Grow Rich right now. It's a very good book. Before that, I was huge into podcasts.
Okay.
I like a guy. His name's Ed Milet. If you know who he is,
No,
he's
I
a
will.
very influential, a very powerful speaker. He has a podcast. He brings on guests that have done some amazing things. Um, so I listen to Ed Milet's podcast. I listen to Gary Vee, um, a lot. Like, he's like my go-to person. And then I also listen to Bigger Pockets, which is a real estate investing podcast.
Okay. Perfect. I will put after the names in the description of the video.
Awesome.
No, and I love it also because I see you using going a little bit back social media in the nice way as a real estate agent. You are starting. That is something that you are starting to trying to, if we can say, to develop your personal brand also. And I
Yes.
love that. I really like that. What
Thank you.
is the best way for the people to find you and to contact you?
It is Easton Gladney, EASTONGLADNEY. All one word on every single social media platform.
Perfect. And tell me one thing. Give me one tip to make the world a better place.
I think the more self-aware everyone is, the more kind we're going to be to people. I think the more that you put your ego aside and you just live the life you want to live, no matter what you're feeling or what you're thinking, I think we're all just going to be super kind to people because we're not trying to impress anyone. We're not trying to um, like uh, like be more dominant. We're not trying to hide our insecurities. We're just living the life we want to live, and that's going to bring out so much more kindness in people versus acting on our ego and trying to, I guess, like, belittle people or act cool.
And beautiful advice. Any last advice or thoughts that you want to share with me or with and the listeners and viewers?
I think a huge one is just keep moving forward and just keep going. It might be rough now, but things are going to get better and improve. Just keep pushing forward and just keep improving.
Listen, thank you so much for the opportunity. Guys, don't forget to go to Easton Instagram, give him a hello, and don't forget to follow us also in the social media. And a great day to everybody. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, man, for having me on.